right. Good morning, everybody. All right. I'll give it a second, wait for everyone to jump in, and then we'll get started here. All right. All right, folks. So, firstly, yesterday was a really good day, trading-wise. You guys did phenomenal yesterday, and I think we all know why. So, let's go over that now. Just give me 1 second. I just need to save my workspace and open a new one. Good morning, Bill. Good to see you. All right, guys. Yesterday was a very solid day, and I'll just give a quick preview of this. So here's the group trade performance from yesterday. 551 trades, of which we have, 551 winning trades versus 491 losing trades. Batting average of 52.88%, win to loss ratio of 1.38 to 1, and a net of 19,267.45. So that's what you guys did yesterday. And you did actually do better on shorts versus longs as far as the win to loss ratio, but either way, this was unquestionably a winning day, and we all know why. So let's go over the reason why. The reason why was Kala. That was one of the reasons why. I think I actually didn't look at the stat, but I know that when I came back, I asked how many people did Kala. Based on the answers, I know that was the biggest winning stock. It should have been. All right, so here it is. This is where we started yesterday, right here. Now, folks, it is interesting that whenever I do one of our webinars, right, whenever we do one of our public webinars, I've noticed that when I ask about stocks that people were in yesterday or the day before, or even the same day, right? The best of performers, rarely do people in those webinars say, "Oh yeah, I was in that." A lot of people there day trade. I can ask people at random, friends of mine who trade, say, "Hey, did you catch this stock today?" And a lot of times they'll say, "Oh, I didn't know anything about that." And what I'm getting at is, if you haven't noticed, it's just coming down to what I said all along. The better you are at finding winning stocks, stocks that are moving, that's the better way of saying it. The better you are at finding stocks that have significant price fluctuation, up or down, or even both, the more likely you are to make some profits, okay? It really comes down to movement. The more movement you have, the easier it is. So here's Kala, a stock that we all know, that we've been in before. This was already a big winner for us in previous sessions. So here we have Kala opening lower. What does it do? It immediately goes up. Now, did it really catch our attention right away? No. But after it consolidated for a while, right here, it had a sharp breakout. And if you guys recall, I didn't catch this part. I caught it a little bit late. Saw it somewhere around here, right? So I just mentioned, I said, hey, Kala's broken out, and then it went up, and then it looked like it was going to retrace, right? Didn't really look like it was going to keep going, but we walked through it, and then sure enough, it turned around after a while and went up. Now, it wasn't like we knew it was going to go up, but we knew there was an opportunity. So I mentioned repeatedly, keep your eyes on Kala, keep your eyes on Kala. This still looks like it has potential And then within 10 minutes after I mentioned that, then it really broke out. And it was this run here from there to there where most of you were able to get in, right? So this was a truly nice winner. You had about a $42 there up to about 52, so about a $10 share move. Awesome for a stock at this price, right? So then after that, some of you actually went short. You saw the writing on the wall. You could see that, hey, okay, this thing looks like it's struggling. It's barely making new highs. Every time it makes one, it pulls back quickly. Then it's moving back into the VWAP channel. Then it's going flat. Then it's turning over. Good short. So for those of you who shorted it, that also was a good play. And I think that's where most of the best, I think that's why the shorts were really big winners. Remember, we always mention in the room that, in the coaching room, that you're looking for stocks. If you're going to short, the ideal stocks will be the ones that went up too far and just can't keep going and have to give up some of their gains. In other words, people have to take profits somewhere, and those stocks start to come back. Okay, we can also short sell stocks that just start off the day and look terrible, and they just keep going down. That works too. But generally speaking, I found that you usually get more success when you find the stocks that just roll over and have to retread ground they just ran because they just can't find more buyers up there. So they have to come back to a price range that's more reasonable. So good job. Very good job. Awesome day for the room. And the more stocks that we find that are moving like this, the better. And if we don't find stocks like that, then we just don't trade as much, right? And a lot of you asked that question in the coaching room yesterday about how to manage trades, position sizing. We went over that in detail right after the market. So just remember the things that I mentioned, and I'll go over them again when we get to the coaching session. All right, next up was Mara. Mara was one of the stocks that I did identify very early, and I actually missed the big breakout because I was looking at some other stocks at the time. So here's Mara, nice move up at the start. That wasn't really where we got in. It actually pulled back first, and then after consolidating for just a little while, it suddenly broke out. And it was that breakout there that one of you at least got, and I remember I think the entry was somewhere around 365 or 67 or something like that. I think it was David that got that, and it just ran up. So that's a near perfect run. Had a very sharp reversal here. If you really were savvy, you might have been able to catch a short sale off of that quick move down. If you didn't, it's definitely understandable, but you should have definitely been getting out of whatever you were holding, or at least getting it down to a minimum number of shares, because at this point it didn't look like you had any real likelihood of a new high. But after a while, did pull back, had a recovery bounce here, also another recovery bounce there. If you got into any of those, some of you are pretty good at catching these recovery bounces and riding them up. If you got one of those, fantastic. Congratulations, good job. And you were able to run up to here or maybe up to there. So either way, good job, Amara, for those of you who caught that. All right, we also had Dada, which Dada was a great performer on the 3rd. We all remember that. Okay. Unfortunately, not a lot of you caught the one on the 3rd. I did mention it early enough, but a lot of you didn't catch this one. It was just a very slow burner. And then it just went off, went flat. The next day it opens, it shoots up quickly, and then sells off. So in that first part of the day, I think some of you did catch that, because I remember a few of you put that in the chat. So good job on that. Then it pulled back. If you could catch a short on that, great. That's not the best short. I prefer it goes way above the top of the channel first, then flutters around and sells off, or this goes above and this completely turns and sells off. You know, I usually call it the cascade. Doesn't happen a lot, where it just goes vertical and then all of a sudden just turns the corner and cascades off. That doesn't happen often, but this is close to that pattern. It just will have to have been pushed harder above the top of this channel. This just kind of went there, settled, and sold off. So not a strong short if you did it, but hopefully you took advantage of it. Then it turns around. It looks like it's going to go up, and it fails. So In this case, if you took the rebound after it starts to look like it's going to go, and you get stuck here and it doesn't go any farther, no problem. There's nothing you can do about that. So chalk it up as a lost opportunity, and it's over. Okay, but good job either way. Okay, Baidu was one that I was harping on for a while. Now I definitely mentioned Baidu. I wasn't paying attention to it when it gapped higher. That wasn't the point. It was this turnaround here, and it was very clear. We were looking at a lot of different Chinese ADRs, and Chinese stocks that are listed in the United States, and they were all doing about the same thing. They were starting to go up. So when it turned the corner here, right about there is where I mentioned specifically, it looks like Baidu, actually just before that was right here, I said it looks like Baidu is about to break out, and watch that closely, and then it did break out. I'll let you guys know that. And after that, it was just a very steady run up, not too fast, not too slow. This is more or less my ideal type of trend, because it goes slowly enough that you have plenty of chances to get in, and it goes steadily enough that you don't really have to question whether or not it looks like it's going to go up any further. So as soon as it starts to turn here, that's pretty much it. It does make a new high after that, but you notice that it didn't advance. So if you think of the market in ranges, which is the way I look at it, you just look at the ranges and say, okay, so it was trading in this range here, okay, something like that. Then it moved to this range, then it moved to that range, then it moved to this little range, and for the most part didn't move down. Try to get away, try to get away, try to get away, and basically just after that point it's just kind of swinging back and forth around that previous range, but it can't get past it. So we could just say, although it didn't do much over here, we could say that this is where it was revolving around, but it couldn't get away from it. Okay, that's the way I look at things. I see the market moving in ranges, and that's by the way, that's not just the way of looking at it. If you check out any data, from trading data, you'll see that that's literally what happens. The stocks or futures or whatever you're looking at, they just literally move from one place to another, like an army going to camp from one site to another. So Baidu was a good one. I don't notice a lot of people were in that, but it makes sense because a lot of you were in Kala and other stocks that were really moving. So either way, as long as you profited, it's all good. Now I didn't put this on our list. I didn't really make too many comments about Tesla because I wasn't really watching it. But Tesla has been volatile recently. I've repeated over and over why, and that's still going to be the case. Like no matter what, you're going to see a lot of volatility in Tesla. Okay, it's just going to be there because there's so much going on with that company. Okay, the company itself is not really the issue. I think it's more, like I said, it's more Elon Musk. There's a lot going on circulating around Elon Musk. And if you just look at the company by itself, if you just forgot that he even existed, and you just looked at the company itself, there are things going on there too, but they're not as dynamic. Now, Tesla did do much better on deliveries as far as the percentages than it did last year. They did report that number. Earnings come out later this month. They did report that their deliveries were actually up, I think 40% more than last year, something like that. But it was lower than expectations. I think it was like 10 percentage points lower. So I think Elon was projecting 50% in improvement over last year, and they got 40%. But again, when you look at those numbers, the way the stock is trading doesn't reflect a difference of that amount. Like I remember Netflix earlier last year, they were at the end of 2021, they were projecting user growth of I think 8 million users, and then they got 2 million, 1/4 of what they expected, and the stock collapsed. Tesla's basically collapsed a similar amount, but they only had 1/5 fewer deliveries. Now, some people are saying, well, it's because of shutdown in plants, etc. But again, I've looked into this stuff. A lot of people have. A lot of analysts have. they may not have the same projections to the upside. But if you look at their targets, like all the analysts that downgraded Tesla on the 3rd, which caused this great decline, which was a fantastic short selling opportunity. So I know some of you took advantage of that. That's also a good example of an ideal. The second type of short that's also good, which is you've got a catalyst that's driving a stock down. Upgrades from analysts are definitely a good example of that. So analysts come out, they downgrade the stock, it comes down, it comes down, it comes down. That's a good thing. Not good for the stock, but good for the trader, as long as you catch it. So most of you are watching Tesla anyway. That's a very common stock in our coaching room for allow you to trade. So therefore, it makes sense that you saw that. But also keep in mind that there are also buyers out there. So when you looked at the downgrade basically moved the price target down, in most cases, something comparable to maybe 20-25% lower than where it was before, which makes sense if the deliveries came in slightly less than expected. Or about 20% less than expected. All makes sense, right? So the rest of the movement, you're going to get a lot of downs and then ups. That's what you can expect. So in other words, there will be, mark my words, there will be there will be some people, some groups that are systematically buying Tesla. We found that out yesterday. Apparently, Kathy Woods of ARK Investments, she apparently bought more shares of Tesla than usual yesterday, which may be part of the reason why the stock generally went up. The market was generally up too, so we can't say that was exclusively a characteristic we saw in Tesla. But the point I'm trying to make is, I've said this also, that you're going to have a battle going back and forth. There are definitely people trying to push Tesla stock price down, and there are also people who are very interested in buying at these price points. So we got the combination of things going on. So you're going to get a lot of volatility. I know one of you, I think Jade, you had been trading in and out of Tesla, and there's just some pretty good swings. Not as good as I would like, but good enough. Like you can get a good swing up, a good swing down. I wouldn't say this is easy to trade, but you can see the clear pattern. Moves above the channel, turns around, comes down. Moves just below the channel, turns around, goes up. Moves above the channel, tries to go down, can't, goes back up, then turns around, goes down, then gets to the bottom and goes up, then goes to the bottom. So it's coiling around it, and that's basically what you can expect when the stock can't really go anywhere, but you get a lot of volatility. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of that. This is not one of my ideal stocks to look at on most days. I would say for the short selling, the 3rd was a great day to look at Tesla, but it's not. I don't think it should be your bread and butter. Okay, unless you're just doing so well with it that it is. All right, so next up we've got Billy. Now Billy, this was kind of a mixed bag yesterday. It started off slow going down, then it started to go up and looked like it was going to go somewhere. And then after this, it just turned around and went flat, and then gradually just died off. So that was a missed chance. We got in. A lot of us got in. Then it didn't keep going. You get out, which is fine, and then it starts to sell off. So there was a decent short selling opportunity here. It didn't keep going, but then it happened again here. That one was good. But then after that, had a nice rebound and a run back up. So you want to think about, again, we want movement. We want something that goes up and then goes down, and then goes up and then goes down, or just keeps going in one direction. Either way works. If you got something that just keeps going up, that works too. Or keeps going down, that works too. If you get a lot of volatility, that can help as well. As long as the swings are pretty consistent, they keep going. They don't just go for a little bit and then disappear and then go the other way and then disappear. You want something that keeps going in a direction for a while and then changes and goes back. That's ideal, right? So better to have a stock, if I were to illustrate, if we got a stock that, wrong drawing tool. If we got a stock that, does this, then does that, then does this, then does that, that's very tradable. You can see you can anticipate the transitions. Or if you get a stock that goes like this, then goes sideways for a bit, then goes up, then goes sideways for a bit, that's good too, right? These are all things you can take advantage of, right? And if it goes down, the same thing, right? So you just want things that are moving, and that's what we're looking for. So Billy, decent mover, not that great yesterday, but we did take a look at it. Now we had a lot of other stocks that really fell apart yesterday. Here's Gern. This is the ideal short situation. Big jump up, goes up, up, up. Now in this case, it didn't really go above the top of the channel, but if you look at the range there, that's a lot of volatility, so that would be kind of tough to get above that anyway. But it's a very nice transition. This is kind of the cascading pattern that I mentioned, where it just goes straight up and then just turns over like a shoulder and then goes down, right? This is a very ideal situation if you can find it, all right? In my early days of proprietary trading, this was one of the primary things I looked for because it just worked. Okay, it was very easy to find stocks that gapped up big time. You can easily find them. I would just wait for them to turn around. I had a little tool that, or little settings on my platform, which I set up where it would tell me once something had been up, and then it turns around and goes back down. It took a while for me to figure out how to program that, but that was one of the beginning stages of my development as a programmer. So anyway, this is one of the patterns I love. I always tell you to look for that. It's always very clear. It just looks like a rocket that ran out of gas and then just turns over, right? Okay, so that was one decent opportunity to short sell at least. The early part of the move, probably nothing much to capture there. ENVX wasn't really something I talked about much, but it gapped down. I did put it on the list of stocks to watch. At the open, it actually sold some more. One of you did ask about this stock. If I recall, you did ask the question, what do you think? And I mentioned that if I remember the news correctly, ENVX, there was, let's see, they had some sort of problem, right, with their, was it with their 19 Pro? I'm trying to remember what the news was. I think it was, I don't know, let's see. Chairman, live stream. There was some sort of presentation they did. Okay, yeah, they did some sort of presentation and live stream presentation from company management regarding an update on production, commercialization, and management additions. So clearly, whatever they said, I didn't see what the news specifically wasn't interpreted well, so it just sold some more. So this one was just a minor short selling opportunity. I wouldn't say this one was that stellar. We have VLLS. And this one was weird. So it started off the day, lots of halts. It did move up, but then eventually sold off and went back down. This one was very difficult. In the beginning of the day, it was all over the place. So I basically told everyone that unless you caught it at the right moment, just leave it alone. And most of you did. If you kept chasing the stock, probably was not a good opportunity because it just was getting halted so many times at the beginning of the day for moving too quickly up and down. And then finally it sells off here. I would say in this case, the short selling opportunity was better, but even so, you can see this was really swinging a lot. So if you could time those well, you can catch some quick moves up or down. But I think that for the most part, at the beginning of the day, this was just not a good opportunity. Okay. And we had some others. I'm just going to skip them for now. So let's look at what's moving pre-market right now. Since we're short on time, let's just see what we got. All right, so I'm just going to rocket through them. I'm not going to spend too much time on commentary on why they're up. So here's what we got. ORTX, that's number one. Okay, that's our first one, ORTX. Okay, this is just looking at pre-market movement. That's all. I'm not going to get into why right now since I don't really have enough time. All right. Okay, let's skip that one. Okay, Next up is OBLG. Let me just check the volume on OBLG really quick just to make sure this one is trading enough volume. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, OBLG is next. Okay. Next, let's see. Wow. Oh wow. Bed Bath & Beyond's in trouble. Bed Bath & Beyond is in trouble. BBBY. Potentially going to file for bankruptcy. This is the worst case scenario. This is literally the worst case scenario if you're an investor into a stock. You don't want a stock to go bankrupt. That's always a very bad thing. I'll go over in the coaching room in a second why that is. Okay, that one's not moving enough. Let me see. MEGL is up. I don't know if this is moving enough volume. This one I'll add it to the list, MEGL, but I'm not going to watch it closely at the open. I'll just put it on. So let's put it in our regular list, which I will upload later before the market open. I just didn't do it yet this week. Sorry, I've just been really busy with a lot of other things for you guys that are funded and things like that. We're just working on some back-end improvements of our systems for you. So that's been keeping me busy after hours. All right, so it looks like that's it for those. Let me just take a quick look here. All right, actually, I will go over BBBY in just a second since it looks like I'll have time. But let me just, I'm going to shorten this list as well. I haven't gotten a chance to really comb through it like I want, but I'm trying to get rid of at least 20 symbols every day that I don't think are worth keeping on the list. Just because they haven't been doing anything in a long time. But it takes a while to go through that list and get rid of them. So just always some work. Right now this list is too long. It's got too many stocks. Tesla's active again. Is the volume on NVCR pretty good, or what's it looking like? ORTX, is it under $1? Not right now, unless I missed something. Oh, actually you're right. ORTX is under $1. I thought it was above, but I'll add it to the list. I'm not going to trade it, but I'll add it to the list anyway. This could go above $1, so I'll keep an eye on it, but I'm not going to trade it under. You're correct. OBLG. And okay, so I got those two added. Tesla's still active. Mara looks, it's only down 4%, so it's not really moving that much. All right, Mara might be a mover today, but I'll look at it later. It's not doing that much at the moment. We already got BBBY. I'll come back tomorrow before the open just to see if it looks like it wants to move. Let's see, NVCR. That is bizarre looking. Let's see. All right, it's 780,000 shares. I'll agree with you on that one. It's not bad. I'm not sure why. Why didn't that show up on my scan? It might be because of the price. So I went to, let's look at that one. So NVCR, good catch there. NVCR, that one is up 72.98%, but it was up more than that. It went to a high of 189.90. Now it's back down. It is trading a good enough amount of volume, a million shares, so that definitely qualifies. So good catch there. I would go with that. That's better than decent volume, by the way. That's very good volume. If you're at a million shares pre-market, that's always good. So we'll put that on the radar. That is a NASDAQ stock as well. It looks like MVCR might sell off at the open, judging by the pre-market action. But either way, it should be a mover, so we might be able to catch something off of that. Only thing you want to watch for, given how far it moved off of that news, I'm guessing I'm kind of guessing the float on the stock is small, but we'll see. All right, I got to jump into the coaching room, guys. Just real quick today, economic news. We had non-farm employment change, which was way better than expected. Holy cow. They were expecting 152. They got 235. That's a massive beat of expectations. And what that means, that basically means that, also, sorry, keep going. We had unemployment claims came in much lower than expected. 230K was the expectation. 204K was the actual reality. And then below, we've got trade balance. It was expected to be negative 64.2. Came in better than expected. The Fed's going. That basically means the Fed has more incentive to raise rates. So the market's not going to like this at all. So all these things, especially the employment part, they want more unemployment. They're getting the exact opposite. They want the labor markets to loosen up, meaning that they want more people not in jobs and more, stuff like that. And basically, it's doing the exact opposite. More people are getting employed. So not looking good for the market then. So that would explain why we had some volatility. It looks like the NASDAQ went down pre-market at least, but we'll see. All right, so folks, I will go ahead and jump over to the coaching room. If anyone's in here listening who's not part of the coaching room, perchance, or you're looking at a replay of this, just go to fundertrading.com, check us out, be sure to join. All right, I'll see everyone in the room in just a second. Wait a minute. I gotta do something first.